Your coworker just saved the entire project. The server crashed, client screaming, everyone frozen. But she just pulled out her phone, created a hotspot, and kept typing like the apocalypse was a minor inconvenience. You asked her later, "How do you stay so calm?" She shrugged, "I don't know. I just handle it." That's not humility. That's programming. And it started when she was 7 years old, standing in an empty kitchen, holding a house key, realizing nobody was coming home for hours. This is Generation X, born from 1965 to 1980. And we've been so busy analyzing everyone else that we missed the most fascinating psychological experiment of the modern era. What happens when you raise an entire generation on silence and self-reliance? Here's what you need to understand. Gen X didn't grow up with helicopter parenting. They got ghost parented, not because their parents didn't care, but because divorce rates exploded to 50%, and both parents working became survival, not choice. So millions of kids wore house keys around their necks, like dog tags, came home to empty houses, made their own dinner, did homework alone, went to bed alone. And their brains said, okay, this is how the world works. Nobody's coming. Figure it out. That's not a thought. That's neural wiring. It's why 40 years later, their first instinct isn't ask for help. It's Google it. It's why they'd rather spend 3 hours fixing something themselves than make a 5-minute phone call. But here's where it gets dark. That childhood didn't just teach them independence. It taught them that needing people is dangerous. Because when you're 8 and you're scared and there's nobody there, you learn that emotions don't solve problems. Action does. So they stopped expressing needs, started solving everything internally. And you can see it in how they move through the world today. They don't post about struggles. They don't trauma dump. They don't ask their 847 Facebook friends for thoughts and prayers when life gets hard. They just quietly handle it and move on, which makes them seem emotionally unavailable to younger generations. But they're not. They're just running different software. Plot twist. This psychology actually made them exceptional leaders. Gen X currently runs over half of the Fortune 500 companies, not because they're loud, because they're relentless. While everyone else was building personal brands, they were building actual skills. While everyone else was networking, they were learning how things work. They didn't climb the ladder, they just outlasted everyone else on it. And their leadership style is weird. They don't micromanage, because nobody managed them. They don't do team-building exercises because they find that stuff performative and exhausting. They just say, here's the goal, I trust you're competent, don't make me regret it. Which either empowers you or terrifies you, depending on what generation you are in. They're also the only generation that can actually fix things when technology fails, because they remember the before times. They can read paper maps. They can do math without a calculator. They can have a conversation without looking at their phone every 90 seconds. When the Wi-Fi dies, everyone else panics. Gen X just switches to plan B because their brain has a backup for the backup. But now we need to talk about what's actually happening to them, right now, today, because this is where their psychology crashes into a crisis they never saw coming. Imagine you're 52 years old. Your teenage daughter needs help with college applications. Your mom just got diagnosed with dementia. Your dad can't live alone anymore. Your boss needs you for a client presentation. And somehow, you're supposed to handle all of this while also, sleeping, eating, existing. This is called the sandwich generation, and half of them are Gen X. We're talking about 11 million people trying to care for aging parents and raise children simultaneously. The average person in this situation spends 22 hours per week on caregiving. That's a part-time job, with no pay, no benefits, no recognition. And here's the kicker. Most of them are also working full-time jobs, so they're doing 2 jobs, raising kids, managing their parents' medical care, and somehow keeping it together. Because that's what Gen X does. They figure it out. Except they're not okay. Gen X has significantly higher anxiety than younger generations, but they're half as likely to seek therapy. That's not a typo. higher suffering, lower help seeking, because asking for help still feels like failure. When they finally do see a therapist, you know what psychologists notice? They're not presenting with recent trauma. They're presenting with accumulated stress, decades of it, like they've been carrying a backpack full of rocks since childhood and just kept adding more rocks and never stopped to say, "Hey, this is heavy. I need help." And the financial pressure is crushing them. Between caring for aging parents and raising kids, they're spending $17,000 a year out of pocket. That's not a vacation budget. That's a second mortgage. So they did what they always do. Diversified. More than 60% have multiple income streams, side hustles, freelance gigs. Not because they're entrepreneurial, because they learned that having only one income source can leave you broke when the economy crashes. Again. But here's what breaks my heart. 60% are performing complex medical tasks for their parents, injections, wound care, catheter management, and 40% received zero training. They're just Googling how to give an insulin shot at midnight and hoping they don't kill someone, because asking for help isn't in their programming. So let's ask the uncomfortable question. Is this psychology healthy? And the answer is, it's both. It's adaptive and maladaptive at the same time. It made them survivors. It made them leaders. It made them the most self-sufficient generation alive. But it also means they're drowning and won't say they can't swim. It means they're having heart attacks because they ignored chest pain for 6 months, because they didn't want to bother anyone. It means their kids think they're emotionally distant, when really they're just terrified of being vulnerable. If you're Gen X watching this, I know what you're thinking. I'm fine. I've got this. That's exactly the problem. You've been saying, "I've got this," since you were 8 years old. And maybe you did have it then, but you're not 8 anymore. And the weight you're carrying isn't a backpack. It's a mountain. You don't get points for suffering in silence. You don't win a prize for handling everything alone. The people who love you aren't impressed by your independence. They're worried. They want to help. But you won't let them, because letting people in feels like admitting defeat. And if you're trying to understand a Gen X person in your life, stop mistaking their silence for coldness. When they don't talk about feelings, it's not because they don't have them. It's because showing feelings got them exactly nothing when they were kids. When they say, "I'm fine," they believe it, because fine just means functional. When they solve your problems without being asked, they're not being controlling. They're showing love the only way they know how, because they learned that love is action, not words. It's fixing the car. It's handling the crisis. It's being the one person who doesn't fall apart. But maybe it's time for a different definition of strength. Maybe strength isn't about handling everything alone. Maybe it's knowing when to say, "I need help." Maybe the bravest thing you can do isn't fix the problem yourself. Maybe it's letting someone else help you carry it. Because here's what Gen X proved. You can be whole on your own. You can survive anything. You can raise yourself to succeed, lead, build, and create. But here's what they're still learning. Being whole on your own isn't the same as being okay alone. You can be self-sufficient and still need connection. You can be strong and still need support. You can be the person everyone relies on and still be allowed to rely on someone too. So the next time you see someone calmly handling a crisis, working 3 jobs, caring for everyone, never complaining, never asking for anything, understand what you're looking at. You're looking at that 8-year-old kid with the house key, still proving they don't need anyone, still opening doors alone, still carrying a weight that would break most people. And maybe they need permission to finally put it down, to stop being the strong one, for just 5 minutes. To learn that asking for help isn't a weakness, it's wisdom. The key opened the empty house, but it can also open the door to let people in. That's not giving up. That's growing up.